Have you ever heard a name in the Bible that sounds ancient and strange, but might actually point to something happening today? The Bible speaks of a time in the future, a time when the world feels like it's spinning faster. Wars and rumors of wars. Nations rising, alliances forming, hearts growing cold. In the middle of all this, the prophet Ezekiel saw something, a vision, a warning. He saw a great enemy, Gog, from a land called Magog. Gog wasn't just one man. He was a leader rising up in the last days with an enormous army. An army made up of nations, Persia, Cush, Put, Gomer, and Togarmah. Together, they would do something unthinkable. They would march against God's people, against Israel. It would seem like nothing could stop them. The skies would grow dark, the earth would shake, and then God would move. He wouldn't stay silent, he wouldn't let his people fall. He would shake the nations, and he alone would bring victory. Now, here's the part that makes people pause. Many scholars believe this land of Magog could be part of modern-day Turkey. Not because Turkey is evil, but because it sits exactly where the Bible describes. A place of power between East and West, a place with a long history of empires and war. A place where ancient names and modern maps begin to overlap. So what does this mean? Is Turkey at the center of Bible prophecy? Is the world preparing for something greater than we can see? This video won't give you fear, it will give you clarity. We'll walk through what the Bible actually says, and why it matters, not just for Turkey, but for you. Because this isn't just a political story, it's a spiritual one. And in the end, no matter what the nations plan, God's plan will never fail. Let's go back, way back, to the time of the prophet Ezekiel. Ezekiel didn't speak from a palace. He didn't live an easy life. He was taken far from his home, away from Jerusalem, and lived in a strange land called Babylon. But even there, God spoke to him. Not just with whispers, but with visions. Big, bold visions of what was coming in the future. In chapters 38 and 39, Ezekiel saw something terrifying and powerful. He saw a man named Gog, not a king, not a regular warrior. Gog was a leader of nations, and he came from a land called Magog. God told Ezekiel, "Gog, you are from the land of Magog, the chief prince of Meshech and Tubal. I will bring you against the land of Israel in the last days." So who is Gog, and where is Magog? The Bible doesn't give us a modern map, but it gives clues, names like Meshech, Tubal, Gomer, and Togarmah. These were ancient places near the Black Sea, in what many scholars believe is part of modern-day Turkey. They were warriors, horsemen, tribes from the north. They didn't worship God. They followed idols, chased power, and waged war. And Gog? He would be their leader in the last days. Ezekiel's prophecy says that Gog would gather a great army, not just from his land, but from other nations, Persia, Iran, Cush, Africa, and Put, Libya. Together they would march toward Israel like a storm, not just to fight, but to destroy, to wipe out the people God loves. It's a scary vision. But it's not meant to scare us. It's meant to prepare us. Because even when Gog rises, even when it seems like evil is winning, God already knows the ending. And it starts with this warning, a warning that begins with a strange name, Gog, of the land of Magog. Now that we've heard about Gog and the land of Magog, a big question comes up. Where exactly is Magog today? That's where things get interesting. Many Bible scholars, historians, and archaeologists have studied these ancient names. Meshech, Tubal, Gomer, Togarmah. These aren't random, they were real places. And when we look at where they were on the map thousands of years ago, a pattern starts to appear. Almost all of them were in or around the land we now call Turkey. Turkey is a country and a very special place. It sits right between two big continents, Europe and Asia. It's a bridge between the East and the West. Throughout history, Turkey has been part of many powerful empires, the Hittites in Bible times, the Greek and Roman empires, the Byzantine Empire, which ruled from the city of Constantinople, and later the Ottoman Empire, which ruled much of the Middle East for hundreds of years. It has always been a center of military strength, cultural influence, and spiritual conflict. Even today, Turkey plays a big role in world affairs. It is part of NATO, it holds power in global politics, and it borders Israel, Iran, Syria, and Russia, places the Bible often mentions. So why does this matter? Because when Ezekiel said an army would come from the north, led by a man named Gog from Magog, he was pointing to a land that many believe overlaps with Turkey's geography today. This doesn't mean Turkey is evil. It doesn't mean every person or leader there is part of prophecy. But it does mean we should pay attention, because this land that once held Meshech and Tubal, this land that sits at the crossroads of conflict, might one day play a role in the final battle. The pieces are moving, and the Bible tells us why. Imagine this: a dark cloud rising from the north. Not just a storm, but an army. Huge, powerful. Thousands and thousands of soldiers marching forward. They come with shields, swords, horses, and rage. That's what the prophet Ezekiel saw. And at the front of it all was Gog. But he wasn't coming alone. In Ezekiel 38, God says, "I will bring you from the far north, you and many nations with you." Who were these nations? Persia, that's modern-day Iran. Cush, most likely part of Sudan or parts of Ethiopia in Africa. Put, usually linked to Libya in North Africa. Gomer and Beth Togarmah, ancient tribes near Turkey and the Caucasus Mountains. This is a global army, a coalition. It's not just one country attacking Israel. It's a group of nations from every direction. They're well armed, they're full of pride, and they believe they are unstoppable. Ezekiel says they will come like a cloud covering the land. That means they'll feel overwhelming, like there's no escape. Their goal? To invade Israel, to take land, to attack God's people. And it won't come suddenly. It will be planned, organized, almost like it's waiting for the right moment. This part of the prophecy feels heavy, but it's meant to show us something important. That in the last days, the world will unite in rebellion. It will look strong. It will look unbeatable. But God already sees it coming. He even says he will allow it to rise so that he can show his glory when he brings it down. This army from the north, this coalition of chaos, will not catch God by surprise. He wrote the end of the story before the army even began to march. And as dark as this scene feels, light is coming. Now imagine the moment. The enemy is marching. The skies are dark. The people of Israel feel surrounded, trapped. There's no army big enough to stop what's coming. No human plan can fix it. And just when it seems like all hope is gone, God steps in. In Ezekiel 38 and 39, God says something bold. "I will show my greatness and make myself known in the sight of many nations." He isn't just watching. He's not silent. He moves. But God doesn't send another army. He doesn't raise a human hero. He himself brings judgment. Here's what Ezekiel says will happen. A great earthquake will shake the land. Mountains will crumble. Confusion will strike the enemy. The army will turn on itself. They'll fight each other. There will be hail, fire, and burning sulfur raining from the sky. Panic will spread like wildfire. Gog's army will fall apart, and the world will know this was not just a battle, it was divine judgment. It sounds terrifying, but this is about justice, about God defending his name and his people. The nations thought they were powerful. They believed they could destroy what God had blessed. But in one moment, God shows them he is not to be mocked. He says, "Then they will know that I am the Lord." And just like that, the armies fall. The weapons are left on the ground. The battlefield grows quiet. The God of Israel, the same God who parted the Red Sea, who shut the mouths of lions, who raised Jesus from the dead, he shows the world once more that no one, not kings, not coalitions, not armies, can stand against his will. This moment isn't just the end of Gog's war. It's the beginning of a deeper truth. God is in control, always. You might be wondering, why does a prophecy from thousands of years ago about a man named Gog and a place called Magog, even matter today. Here's the truth. The Bible doesn't just tell us what was. It tells us what is, and what's still to come. This story isn't just about Turkey, or Israel, or ancient battles. It's about something much bigger. It's a reminder that the world will not always be peaceful, that evil still tries to rise up, that nations may gather to fight against what is good. And sometimes, it will feel like the enemy is winning. But this prophecy reminds us, God is never surprised. He sees every alliance, every plan, every shadow behind the curtain. He told us ahead of time, not to scare us, but to help us stay awake. We live in a world where big things are happening. Nations are rising. Wars are shaking the earth. Technology is changing the way we think, live, and even believe. And in the middle of all that, God is whispering, "Watch, stay ready. I told you what was coming." He's not asking us to live in fear. He's asking us to live in faith, to trust Him even when the news looks bad, to pray even when we feel small, to believe even when the world laughs at our hope. Because the message of Gog and Magog isn't just about war. It's about God's power. It's about His promise to protect those who belong to Him. And it's about a future where He wins, completely and forever. So what does this mean for us? It means the Bible is not just an old book. It's a living voice. It's a lamp in the darkness. It's a warning, but also a comfort. Because if God knew the end from the beginning, then He knows how to carry you too. When the Bible gives a warning, it's not to make us panic. It's to help us prepare, to open our eyes, to call us closer to God. That's exactly what the prophecy of Gog and Magog is doing. It's not just about armies. It's not just about Turkey or Israel or politics. It's a spiritual alarm, a wake-up call to believers. And when the alarm sounds, what should we do? We don't run, we pray. You see, prayer is not a last resort. It's not something we do when we don't know what else to do. Prayer is our first weapon. It's how we talk to the one who sees the beginning and the end. In the book of Ezekiel, God says something powerful. "I looked for someone who would stand in the gap, but I found no one." That verse breaks the heart. It means God was searching for someone, anyone, who would pray, who would intercede, who would care enough to stand between the brokenness and His mercy. Today, God is still looking. He's looking for people who will pray over their families, over their cities, over their nations, and yes, over Israel. You don't need a stage. You don't need to be famous. You just need to say, "God, use me. Wake me up. Teach me how to pray." Because when you pray, something happens. Heaven moves. Angels are sent. Hearts are softened. And your own soul becomes strong. This prophecy is heavy, but your prayers can be light in dark places. When you hear news of war, pray. When you see division, pray. When the world feels uncertain, hold on to the one who never changes. Gog and Magog may rise in the last days, but long before they move, God is already working in the hearts of those who pray. He's building an army too, not of soldiers, but of saints, not of weapons, but of worship. And you are part of that.